Okay, welcome back to Take Flight Podcast, episode number 14. Woo! So I'm here with myself, Olu, Pabilo, Shuwal, and Daniel. How you guys doing?
Happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday indeed. Doing well.
Good. So on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about toxic masculinity. Yeah?
Deep.
One of our listeners messaged me to say it'll be good to see how you guys deal with toxic masculinity. So we'll go into that. And then lastly, we'll end with a book recommendation by myself. So stay tuned and let's get started. Happy Friday.
Take off, take flight with you. For we never fly, but we're flying.
Take flight, take off with you. Alright, cool.
So guys, how's it going? Toxic masculinity. P, you ready? The reason I say that is normally every Friday or before we start recording on Friday, we put in the group chat sort of agendas and what we're going to talk about. So this week I put in the group chat about the toxic masculinity. It was kind of silent in that group chat. Certain man,
It got very silent.
So
my first reaction was WTF.
Yeah, exactly. Because I guess a lot of people are afraid of the cancel culture. They don't want to get cancelled, yeah? But now let's keep this open and honest. What does toxic masculinity actually even mean?
I don't know, you told me.
Yeah, you actually
Jesus, tell us.
help us by opening up, and then we can perhaps.
Have you guys even heard of toxic masculinity, or is this the first time you've heard it, or is it just like a buzzword?
First time I'm hearing the term.
Okay, cool.
I've heard it before. I can't remember the guy's name. I went to a One Young World conference last year, and the guy, you know, the one who's super ripped, really big, black guy in America. He does. He was in White Chicks and that.
Oh, Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
Yeah. Terry Crews is a big advocate.
Did you say super rich?
Super ripped.
Ripped, he said ripped, he said.
But
ripped.
he actually, in the One Young World conference, he came on the stage and he did a great speech about toxic masculinity. But I'm sure Ollie will explain it better. But I will share the link actually at the end of the podcast, probably one of the Instagram posts. I'll share the link to it.
Yeah, so really what toxic masculinity really means and what it's talking about is really referring to harmful behaviors or attributes commonly associated with being a man. So a lot of people would say that you need to be aggressive to be a guy, or you need to be loud and confident. It's basically saying that there's only one way or one form of being a man. And if you don't meet that form or that construct, then you don't define yourself as a masculine sort of man. And then that's why you see people sort of walking around with their chest, feeling like they have to open or have a certain facade to fit in that definition of a man.
Ooh, okay. Whoa, a lot to unpack. So I think it sounds like how I take it is everybody needs to be an alpha male, and if you're not an alpha male, then you're not doing your job as a man.
Yes.
I actually remember specifically one point last year, I was looking at myself saying, how can I do things differently? What do I need to do differently to improve, fulfill my potential, and help others around me? And I actually said to myself, I don't know if I have alpha male characteristics.
Were you looking in the mirror when you said this to yourself? No, I'm joking.
I said, I don't know. I don't think I'm that kind of person. I don't think my friends can say I'm an alpha male. And I wonder if I was to adopt those characteristics, would it make me a better person? Or would I be able to be a better person for others? And I think, being completely honest, I tried to say, okay, let me try and do a few things to be more of a alpha male, whatever that means at the time, right? So this is a conversation I'm having with myself. And what I concluded through the use of reading and also just looking at the world is that the ultimate role to play and to move into is to be a servant leader, right? So, and then we can move on to that. But I certainly had that conversation. Should I be more of an alpha male? So it's.
But where do you think that came from? So for the rest of the guys, where do you feel like the pressure of the image of a man is created? Because I think
it's the media.
You think it's the media?
I think so as well.
media?
I think it must have come from, if I'm being completely honest, looking at perhaps certain moguls or certain figures in the media and saying, if they've achieved that level of success, it's probably because you have to adopt a alpha male shark mentality. That's what it takes to get there. And so that's what I need to do next in order to get there.
But is it even deep? Yeah, go on, sure, go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go, sure. No, go.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's also a generational thing as well, because I remember growing up, my dad would always tell me, oh, don't cry like a little girl, kind of thing, if I was like proper sobbing about something. And I think also the generation that he is, that generation, it wasn't a cool thing, or it wasn't a cool thing to show your emotion. It's always important to stay strong. It's always important to not get upset. It's always important to kind of keep a straight face. And I feel like the generation that we're in now is the generation where it's really opened up a lot more. And people are realizing that showing emotion, showing how you feel, whether positive or negative, that actually comes from a place of strength rather than a place of weakness. And I think it's evolving. But yeah, I think an early one is always the people around you, the older people around you in the early phases of your life, saying certain things that can influence your behavior or influence it basically.
Yeah, because when I think about it, I feel like it's based on archaic knowledge and information. So yes, there might have been a long time ago, where it made sense to have what we class as an alpha male. Yeah, when we were cavemen, you needed a certain level of aggression, violence, dominance that you needed in that particular time. Even if you look at, so I think it comes from the archaic way of living. Sometimes you even see it in religion or in scripture, where it sometimes can be some people might mistranslate it like to being the head of the house, like you hear people say a man should be the head of a household. And then people take it in a way where, as we sort of grown and develop and life has sort of changed, where to be a manager, to be a boss or whatever, you don't have to be a specific gender. We haven't updated that way of thinking. So that's just sort of followed us down the path. And me coming from a Nigerian household, I think it's similar to you, Shua, where it's like you need to be a provider. Like you need to be able to be strong. Don't show so much emotions. And then go on.
Now, you know what's interesting is that as I'm thinking it through now, I'm saying to myself, the goal is still the same, but it has to be just done differently. So I believe alpha males with the right intentions say to themselves, it's my job to be the provider. It's my job to serve. It's my job to ensure that I'm providing direction, providing the vision to my family, to my friends. And by doing that, I have to obviously showcase strength and not cry and not show emotion. And I think just to finish my thinking, I think the goal is still the same. You still have to play that role as a man. It's just the way in which you do it has to change fundamentally. So I still pride myself on wanting to be a leader for my brothers, wanting to be a leader for my family, my friends around me. But then the way I do it will have to be more openness, more transparency, sharing with people where I've failed, where I've taken losses. And so I'm still doing the same thing. I'm just doing it very differently. So I think.
Pete, a question. You're talking about being the provider, whether it's true or not at the moment, or you don't have to confirm. But if your wife was to make more than you, how would that change? Would that change things?
So one thing I'll say is my wife will make more than me.
That's it. Yeah.
That's the confidence we need.
That's
exactly.
It's just a matter of time. But this is so a couple of things. One thing I'll say, I had a conversation with someone whose wife does make more than them, and a lot more.
Okay.
Like it's ridiculous. And he said actually he was very uncomfortable. He didn't know how to manage that situation. And over time he realized actually it's my job to actually facilitate and show her how to make more. So and I took that away and I thought that's a really key insight. To be honest, okay, if you said to me, so I said my wife will eventually make more than me. If you said to me today, because again I like to take that provider role. If Lauren was making 10 times more than me, how would I be? I would struggle. I would.
And that's the part, and that is basically.
We live good though.
But that is. Yeah,
There'll be a lot more Take Flight podcast hats floating around.
I think what I would do, keeping it honest, I'll try to find another pocket where I can play the leader. So I'd almost be saying to my mind, okay, you might make 10 times more money, but this is what I'm doing at it. So
but you see, P, that is the part where it's like the toxic aspect of it. That's the and it's true, because I would feel the same way. I would feel the same way, but it's being comfortable enough to say it doesn't make me less of a man just because my wife or my girlfriend is earning more than me. There's other stuff that she might be that she's better than me, that I am, vice versa. So you never know. I could be, I'm not saying I am, but I could be a great chef. So, you know, every time, why are you laughing?
No, I think that was the wrong example. I think you shouldn't have. I've seen your steak.
My steak's good. Medium steak.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
Did you taste it? Did you taste it? But it's just, and that's the part where society and our upbringing has created that toxic environment where we feel like we have to hold that leader role to be a man. Whereas, like, I might be a good leader, so let me hold that role. But my partner might be a better leader than me, and let me feel comfortable with the fact that she's a better leader than me, and I don't feel less of a man just because. But I think the biggest issue is when you're around your boys. If you say, hey, she's picking the check and everything like that, your boys will be looking at you a certain way. I know you, man, will be looking at me if every time we went out, my lady was like, hey, just you pull out my card.
I don't think she should.
No, I'm not going to lie. Okay, this is the thing. This is the thing. We're talking about... Sorry, Daniel, go ahead.
I don't think she should. But, I think we need to remember, when it's toxic, we need to remember it's harmful behaviors and attitudes commonly associated with men. And I'm a married man. So I think about everything I do. Can my wife survive without me? Meaning, of course, I don't want her to leave me, but should my time on this earth come to an end, can she survive without me? Like the last few weekends, I was doing some electrics in the house, changing some sockets. And I said, okay, look, this is what I'm doing. I said, let me show you. And then, I'll show you how I'm doing it. We can go through one together, and then I'll let you do one, and I'll just observe. And that was just something, me just showing something, not necessarily that she's going to be doing it, but it's just showing her at least she knows how to do it. Even changing the tire of the car. If there was a flat tire, does she know how to do it? Just small things that are commonly associated with what men's roles are. But can your wife also do it? You want to ensure that should you, God forbid, should you have a short life, but we don't know, can she do things without you?
Daniel, I agree with everything you say, but I'm saying it the other way around. I'm saying it more in terms of, let's say you couldn't do that and your wife could do it. Yeah. Okay. So prior to that,
I'll give an example. With our finances, at first, I was doing the budgeting. I was doing all of that.
Bro, and I'm going to cry. I'm going to start crying. God, this is close to my heart. Hey, go on, Daniel. Run it, Daniel. Run it.
I was doing them. And she said, oh, but, we never, like, you just assumed the role. I was like, okay, I didn't think you wanted to do it. And I said, okay, would you like to do it? She said, yeah, I'd like to give it a go. And to be honest, we ain't looked back since. She does them. And the thing is, sometimes you have to take your hats off. If they... Just because you're a man doesn't mean you can do it better. She does it better than me. Yeah. And I've let her take that role. So anytime I'm on the bike, I'm like, cool. The finances. I come to you and ask about the money. I don't have to assume that responsibility. And often it's the man that wants to do it. But I thought, you know what? To be honest, it's relieved a lot of stress for me. I let her do it. I gave her receipts.
No, remember when when you were getting married and we had that conversation? All the man them got together and we were talking about, and I'm not going to mention anyone's names that were in the conversation, but we had a conversation with the man them and it was about roles in relationship and marriage. And it got a little peak in that conversation.
I think I don't want to sort of delve too much into like marriage relationships and the roles, but what Daniel was saying is close to my heart, because I think, again, we're talking, Daniel, in that scenario, you're still acting as the leader. Right, because you was strong enough to be able to give up what you've been doing for so long, and you can do well, and say to this other beautiful soul, you take it on, or let me show you how to do it, so that we both know how to do it together, and moving forward, you can do it as well. I didn't need to show her how to do it. She scrapped my spreadsheet. She started a new one. See, and this is what I'm saying. This is the consequence. Because we tell ourselves every single day we're great, we have so much potential, we can do so much more, Look at the examples. And so what we end up doing is justifying to ourselves why I should still have that alpha male mentality, alpha male role. And if Daniel, if you decided to say to Melissa, no, look, I'm running the finances. Have we lost since? We ain't never lost working with my numbers. And if you'd ran that attitude, you would have never seen this opportunity that you're now saying she's better than you at.
Yeah, so and also it's also opened opportunities for her, because this spreadsheet she does like a whole year. She was talking to someone on the phone, talking through the spreadsheet, sharing it with them because they needed something for their business. And see, if that was me, I'd be like, here's a spreadsheet, just take it. Or I probably wouldn't even have been brought into that conversation. But she shared it with someone. She's shared it with a lot of people that can potentially benefit from it.
Yeah. So I mean, and also going back to the other point as well, today. I mean, we're always working on this mindset. I think over time we'll certainly, I say, better perfect how to be more of a servant leader amongst friends, family, and also show people how to do things. But if you just quickly to conclude on that last point, if Lauren made 10 times more than me, I would struggle and say, okay, you would try and find another way to compensate. And so it's letting go. I think we talk about how to improve. It's letting go of, because at the end of the day, it's just me and her. Like, no one else is looking. No one else is. So a good question is, where does the
pressure come from?
Why do we hold on to that belief so hard when at the end of the day, it's like life is an inside job. It's inside out.
I think it's the pressure.
Letting go, I think, is a big one of the underlying behaviors that helps to minimize these toxic behaviors.
So, Pete, do you think, or the rest of the guys, do you think there's pressure out there for men to hold this facade of leader?
Yeah.
And where do you think that comes from?
It's the media. When I say media, I don't necessarily mean like tabloids or newspapers, but when it comes to adverts,
movies as well.
Movies, you see a car advert. Why is it predominantly a man? When it's like a Lynx advert, why is the man like half naked, topless? And then women run into. No, it's just why is it always that men are portrayed as some strong, dominant being? And I think over the decades, and it's just been ingrained in the media and adverts. When you think about something or you see something, you can automatically assign a gender or role to it. And I think it's become more harmful when Olu, you shared a link about the Gillette advert, which was, I think, released in January, about on this topic, and it was almost going through the years of how men responded or reacted to things and almost trying to challenge that. So when like two little boys are fighting or play fighting, and someone says, oh, boys will be boys. But then at the end of the advert, a man comes to break it up. When a woman's walking down the street, a man just looks at them and stares at them in, obviously in a crude manner. And a guy comes and says, no, that's not right. But why is it that if we see it, we've all seen builders. You see a woman. I like to watch builders. I'm walking. No, that sounds a bit wrong. No. Okay, let me rephrase. I'm walking down the road. I could be walking behind a woman, and then I'll be walking past the building site. It could be in London, wherever it is, and I just look at the builders, and you just see all of them tapping their colleague, saying, "Oh, look," and the look that they give them is just disgusting. Because think about it. Imagine that was your mum, your sister.
Yeah, but listen, you can't fault those guys, man. Those guys are working together.
Why can't?
Because I'm just being real. What I'm saying is that all day long,
they're staring.
All day long, they're working alongside each other. They're crammed up in that van. When they kneel down, their bums are showing. That's all they see, right? So when a woman goes past, it gives them something in their day, just to smile.
That's why I challenge you. I still think that's wrong. I don't think that is right.
Because
I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying to you is that, are you surprised? Because if you
it's
was
not,
wearing
I think
that luminous jacket as well, showing your bum, trust me as well, you'll be looking.
So I don't think it's not about surprise. It's that there needs to be change. There needs to be change.
It's not surprising because the media has made us think it's acceptable and it's normal. But imagine a group of women looking at a man like a piece of meat.
Yeah, that.
It's not nice.
No,
it's not nice.
Like
in any direction.
Even when you talk to some of your female friends and you ask them how is a night out, like just a day in their life, and they tell you how much unwanted attention that they get. we don't experience it as guys. Maybe P does because he's a handsome lad. But
Hey, I let you guys say it for me. You know what I'm saying?
But on the norm, we don't get that unwanted attention. And you can imagine a woman going out and getting 4, 5, 6 in a day unwanted attention. Like, that's difficult to live with. And we've never seen that because the way, like you guys have mentioned, media has portrayed it is, yes, we should be... Like, we were raised in a messed up society where media normalized a lot of things that we did or whatever. And now that we're changing, or society's changing, we're realizing, oh, you know what? This was messed up. So we need to listen to, like, whenever anyone shares their experience, we can't sort of judge and say, oh, nah, you don't feel like that, you're overreacting. No, we need to listen to that person's experience and be able to say, okay, you know what? Maybe us as men were wrong. And let's see how we can help, how we can change. How it's similar to like racism, where black people share their experience, and you're like, some people might say, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about," but no, we're going through it, we're living that. So okay, I understand. Let me now try and adapt and change the way my views were.
Yeah, I also feel maybe in some cases, not from a personal experience, but the behaviors, those toxic behaviors, can also it's a two-way thing. So on one hand, the man puts pressure on himself to fulfill this role he believes he needs to fulfill because that's what he's seen in the media. On the other hand, the woman can sometimes also put that pressure in directly or indirectly because she says, you're supposed to provide. You're supposed to take care of business. You're supposed to handle. So I think...
It needs to work both ways. It needs to work both.
Yeah. And to your point, Olu, it's about turning down the noise from the outside and just working together between the two of you on what makes you both tick and letting that satisfy you. So so it's a two-way thing. But I think, again, openness and a discussion like what we're doing now, this is certainly going to be something which is valuable for us because we're going to walk away from this episode and say, okay, how can I perhaps do things differently? How can I catch myself when I think I'm being in that situation where I'm adopting behaviors which are quite toxic?
Do you think there's any positives, and there might not be, but do you think there's any pros to being what they class as a toxic masculinity? Do you feel like it's one of those things that we just need to cancel, or do you just feel like, and when I'm saying obviously there's different levels of toxic masculinity, but do you guys, because Daniel, like you mentioned, the Gillette advert, they've got a lot of backlash as well from certain men saying, oh, now you guys are not against the typical macho man. So how do you?
It comes to a balance, and I thought also believe it's with toxic masculinity. It suppresses the emotional bearing or avoidance of emotional expression, because as the advert evokes, is people can't express how, and I think it comes borderline bullying. I said that with the example of the boy being chased, and when you're an over-assertive, dominant male, you can come across as domineering, and almost like a dictator. And someone can feel bullied, someone who isn't as confident as you. It could be even another male, and that's essentially bullying. But also the suppression of expression emotionally can also be detrimental, because I feel as though it does lead to, when it's toxic masculinity or someone who isn't, they don't feel as though they can express themselves emotionally. So how they're really feeling. Like he was mentioning, you can't express that, it was a difficult day. I found this challenging, because you feel as though you have to live up to the roles or expectations of a man that media has
always
portrayed.
In control, always got it.
Yeah. But how if you had a bad day? You feel emotionally drained. You feel like you had a bad day. You didn't feel like, you won the day ran you. You're being challenged with certain things, and you don't know, you're not supposed to voice it. You're not supposed to, or you're not allowed or encouraged to voice it, and it can be quite damaging.
So how do you guys think it can be addressed, or it can be, how do we get to a better place when it comes to toxic masculinity, or at least, and I think we've talked about some of that, or rid toxic masculinity, or is it something that cannot be rid?
I think personally is something like any toxic behavior. I think the best way to get rid of it is first of all try to work on yourself. So if there's any moment that you catch yourself saying a comment or thinking a certain way, be aware of that and the impact that it would have on the people around you. And then also on externally, if you see other people doing something or saying something inappropriate which just doesn't make any sense and it's having a negative effect on the people around them, call them out on it. Just say, look, what you're saying actually doesn't make any sense. And 9 times out of 10, when you challenge people on something that they're saying wrong, they instantly retract it and say, oh, I'm sorry. People don't tend to push it after that. So I'd always try to work on it internally. And then if you do spot it around you, call people out on it.
I think you hit a nail on the head. It's calling people out, because if it was a racial comment that you didn't agree with and you stood up for it, you would speak up, or I hope people would speak up.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's the same way that if people are making derogatory terms, or looking at, or sexualizing a woman as an object, it's not nice, and I would speak up. Or it's even not even laughing at jokes that people make or comments. You say, no, that's not right, and the media thing could be like, what do you mean that's not right? You're a guy. What do you mean it's not right? It's normal. But no, it's not right. It's point blank period not right.
Yeah, for me is so masculinity is not something to be, and as people are listening, I don't think any of us are saying masculinity is something that we should be against. Like,
no, definitely
there's stuff that we are masculine about and we should be happy about and celebrate, because we were born a certain way, people were born a certain way. Some aspects of it is masculine in certain sense. I guess the big piece I think plays is media, and I think we're starting to do a better job, and it's more creating different characteristics and showing different characteristics of what a man is. So not just having one image of what an alpha male should be, but showing, okay, this guy is still a masculine man, but his wife is the breadwinner of the house, and he's comfortable in his skin, he plays whatever he feels comfortable in his role. So I think the media will play a big part. As we see media updating and changing, it would then help the younger generation, because unfortunately I think with everything you have multiple stages. You have a generation which is like too late. It's just too late for them. Like they were brought up in a certain time. You can tell them, hey, don't say this, whatever. It's just too late. There's another generation where, yes, you need to educate them so that they're not corrupted by the older generation. And then there's a younger generation where those are going to be...
There's still some hope.
There's still hope. They're going to be the future. So by the media portraying a certain way, by the time they grow into adults, the whole world will change. Because I feel like everything that happens in life is just a reaction to the previous like media or whatever. So we're seeing this because we're seeing like the Me Too movement and everything, because of the fact that the way people were raised back in the day based on the media and everything, this sort of behavior was normalized.
Yeah.
Now that we're updating it, 5-10 years down the line, we're going to see an improvement, better equality and everything. So yeah, that's my view.
I think for me, in terms of when you asked the question about how can we improve and progress in the right direction, I think we all have to take the responsibility of keeping an open mind. So let's say, for example, I take someone out there that is quite an alpha male. I think that person should take the responsibility to keep an open mind and try to discover what could be the benefits and the values if I was to do things differently. For example, and you hear Daniel's story where he shared what he knows with finances with Melissa, and now Melissa can do it better than him. So now they both benefit from this. So I think it's about exploring and trying to understand, okay, if I change my methods and my thinking a little bit, what benefit or more value can I unlock? And then it's up to the person whether they want to change or stay the way they are. But I think an open mind, exploring and having discussions. Mm-hmm. But this is something we're talking about. I'm a firm believer you can only change one behavior at a time, and it also takes a long time to change these behaviors. So it's a couple years before you really start seeing differences.
Yeah. And I think as us guys, we need to talk a lot more to each other, like other guys. I think one of the biggest part with masculinity or toxic masculinity is that we're not allowed to show pain or fear, the emotional aspect of it. So sometimes it's really speaking to your friend and say, yo, is everything okay? Like, let stuff off your chest, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think we do a good job at that.
Sorry, just on that point, you know what's funny? I don't think we asked each other, like all three of us, we asked each other, how's it going? But I don't think we've ever, unless I've said to you something's up, then you've said to me, what's going on, tell me. But I don't think we've ever approached any of us and said, how are you? Because we always make something.
I tried to call you this week, you didn't pick up my call.
Were you going through something or were you trying to check in? Which one was it?
Did you see my response? I said I wasn't going through something. So it's like, I always make the assumption you guys are always good. So whenever we talk, I expect to only
You
hear
still didn't return the call. You still didn't return the call. But behind this mask could be something skin deep. You only see me skin deep, Pete. You only see me skin deep.
Let me call you now.
No, that's cool. No. I'm not picking up. No, but, no.
So now you make me feel bad because what you're basically saying is that you have something to talk about.
You should feel bad.
All right, cool.
It's because I read something yesterday, and it was 2 in 5 people can't remember the last time someone asked them, "How are you?" face to face. And
just for a second,
that's actually deep, man.
Wait, real quick, I want to recognize what's just happened. Daniel reached out. I can't even remember why I didn't pick up or if I missed the call. But what I'm saying is,
you said you're getting ready for a meeting or something.
It was okay, but what I'm saying is that my first thought is something up because I don't think that way. I'm thinking, yo, I'll hit him up after, man. I'll talk to him later. So, so no, I think it's having that thought because like I would never think Shaw's got anything going on. Anything upsetting. No, seriously. If he called me and say, yo, P, I'd be like, huh? So even that changing the mindset in that we can actually have these moments where we need to discuss but no, this is
we're laughing, but it's actually quite serious.
No, this is definitely serious.
I think
it's very serious.
I'm not going to name who it was, but there's someone very close in my life that for years I always assumed that they were cool for years and years and years, and during that period they went through some like up and down patches, and I never knew. And there was just one time where I just said to them, bro, like how are you actually doing? Like, is everything cool? And then he broke down to me what had happened to him in the previous 18 months. He just didn't feel comfortable sharing with anybody, right? Not even his family. And that made me realize, like, I need to really be more aware of the people around me and try and pick up the signals. Because also when you're talking to people, sometimes they're saying, yeah, I'm cool. But you know something's just not right.
Signals drop,
So just at least being open-minded enough to just double check and be like, okay, are you actually cool? Is everything okay? And then being like actually just there to listen. Sometimes people don't even want to hear any advice. They just want to explain what their problem is and just have that heard by someone else. So just being open-minded enough to do that. I really opened my own eyes to realizing how could I have missed that? And I wish I had known earlier, so I could have helped him in a different way. So.
And we need more reflection points as men. We need because we're racing. So I like Daniel telling me now, yo, P, I tried to call you. I actually feel it right now because we're racing.
You should.
That's fine. I take that. But we're racing and we're saying, look, this is the role I got to play as a man, and I'm off. Boom, 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 boom. And we're not taking. We do take time out, but maybe not. It's not maybe more time or maybe purposely to say, okay, let me reflect on who I need to check with or just. But it's nice. It'll be forever a work in progress.
And you'll be surprised how much, like Shua mentioned, that person just needed to vent or tell someone that what's going on in their life. I'm not the best when it comes to, I'll say, listening in terms of I'm always like solution oriented. Whereas like someone tells me what's going on in their life and I'm like, okay, what's the solution? Okay, what are we going to do? And then sometimes that's not the right answer. Sometimes it's just, they just need someone to listen. So I think as men, as just people in general, find someone to talk to. When it gets so much, find someone and it doesn't have to be family or friends, because sometimes people find it harder to talk to family or friends because you've always held this facade or this image of I'm okay, I'm good. But even if it's like therapy or calling someone that or whatever, just speak to someone about it, because you'd be surprised how many people are going through the same thing or how good it just feels to let off that load. So yeah, for sure. I think we need to do an episode where we, maybe not even an episode, but just a core group chat where we just ask each other, how is everyone doing? And just have like an honest conversation.
Yeah, but then it's going to be fake.
No. That's why I said no podcast. That's what I'm saying, not a podcast, just a conversation just to check in. So, P, After this podcast, return that call to Daniel.
No, not right now. It needs to be organic. It needs to be organic.
He's got stuff to get off his chest, so...
But I can see in P's face, he definitely felt that comment from Daniel, 100%.
No, because you know what I'm doing now? I'm going through my mind thinking, yo, what are the things that potentially... Anyways, but that's off this. Yeah. So, yo, Daniel, on a... Maybe hit me up tomorrow, innit? Don't make it so random. hit me up tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Don't make it so random. Let's talk.
Cool.
Got time.
Cool. So let's move on. I think that was a great topic. Let's move on now to the book recommendation, which will be taken by me. So on this week's episode, we're going to talk about...
What controversial book you sharing this week? Last time
I like that, but I'm not gonna lie. The one you did last time, Ollie, was really, really cool. So
I got some really good feedback about that. You know, a few people are getting that book and everything, and we're gonna provide a link to people where they can buy these books from. So you know,
shout out Amazon.
We'll share some of the links of where we have our books, and you can purchase from there.
Good.
But on this week's episode, I'm gonna move away from relationship. You know. I think we need to do an episode about relationship, you know. We keep talking about it, but we need to do one.
There's a lot to unpack in that episode, my brother.
I think for that we need to do a poll whether people want an episode on relationships.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, relationships.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack.
No, I think we'll do. But on this week's episode, I'm gonna change suit, and I'm gonna do a book review on The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. So I think a few of the people on this call or on this podcast have you read you want
strong opinions on this book.
You went to the relationship book. So the book really talks about, and it's got like a subtitle where it says escape the 9 to 5, live anywhere, and join the new rich. Nice. So let's
that last 6 months.
Question. Yeah. We've all read that book, right? Sure, you've got that book.
Yeah.
You've got that.
I've been reading it recently, the last couple of months.
Okay, Pete, you finished the book.
What do you mean if I finished the book? What are you trying to say?
I'm just asking. Have you finished the book?
No, I have. I read it.
You finished the book?
Yeah, I finished it. Yeah.
So why are you still working 9 to 5? Why are you both still working 9 to 5?
You know why that's so good, yeah? Because I think that's what you have to be careful about the book. You have to be careful about the book, yeah? Because don't be naive. Yeah, go on.
The answer to that question has nothing to do with reading any book. So we can actually address that in another episode, which I think is a different title.
But no, it's good that you mentioned that, Daniel, because one thing that you want to understand is...
About why am I still working?
Is it possible...
Trying to... Yo.
No,
I'm on my way, bro. All right? I'm on my way. We're working on it.
No,
go ahead.
So no, I say, Daniel, to answer that question, yeah? Is it possible to escape the 9 to 5? Yes. And follow a lot of the methodologies in this book? Yes. But can everyone do it? No. And you can't be naive to think just by reading this book, everyone can do it, yeah?
You've killed a lot of hopes there.
No. But it's like, because I hate sometimes when people read a certain book here and they're like, oh, I'm going to... Nah, not everyone can. There's a lot of stuff that this book talks about, which is good to know and it helps you, but doesn't mean you're going to completely escape the 9 to 5. Unless you put some real work into it, and we can go into it, yeah? Okay. The first question I got for you is...
But what you mean to say is everybody has the possibility to do it, but just from a economical standpoint, like businesses and companies around the world, it's not going to happen for everyone.
Yeah, and ability, yes, if they put the 10,000 hours in. Remember my 10,000 hours. You have to put hours in.
Hours, yeah. I need more than 10,000 hours, boy. Trust me.
So the key thing I'll say is, I'm going to ask you guys a question. If Daniel is earning 150k a year,
why
if Daniel's earning and I'm earning 50k a year, who's richer?
Depends who has more time.
Yeah, depends who needs to put in.
It's tough to do this book review because you guys have read the book, yeah.
No. It
depends. Yeah, and it all depends
because rich has nothing to do with monetary value.
Exactly, so and that's what the book breaks down. It first talks about.
Say that again for the listeners at the back.
Rich has nothing to do with monetary value. It really depends on who has more time.
Do you know what? Olu's pissed because we messed up the point he was trying to make.
What's the point?
So the point is, and what the book does is it breaks down that it's not just about the monetary amount that you earn, but it breaks down that there's two elements that come into it. So if the person, let's say for example myself, I earn 50k, I only work 2 hours a week, yeah, and Daniel who earns 150 is working 80 hours a week. If you start to look at how much we're earning per hour, you've got me earning around 480 per hour, and Daniel only earning only earning 36 pounds an hour. So automatically, if you start looking at the relative amount, I'm richer.
So it's just what P said.
Also, it breaks down and goes into the philosophy of where do you live. So Daniel living in London, I might be living in somewhere like Bali where it's cheaper. So he goes for a meal. He's paying a crazy amount. His rent is 10 times as expensive as mine. I'm paying chicken change for a meal, like £20 for a meal. He's paying, Daniel likes fancy steaks and all of that stuff. So maybe
like steak.
maybe 200. So it takes into, it's basically, instead of looking at your income, it starts to talk about a concept called relative income. So it takes into like cost of living, how many hours you're doing. So that's what it says is new rich is really about time, how much time you spend, and how valuable your time is. Then it starts to go into another sort of concept, which it talks about time, is around two elements. When you look at time, you should be only really thinking about two things: elimination and outsourcing. So those are like two key concepts that the book continuously preaches. So when it comes about elimination, is the 80-20.
Yeah, you went silent. Yeah.
Is it someone calling from Nigeria? International call.
So when it talks about the elimination, it talks about really the 80-20 rule. So I think a lot of times we don't stop to think and say, okay, what is this 80-20 rule? So we find out in the book, it talks about most of his profit and most of his money comes from 20% of what he spends time on, 20% of the channels. Yeah. That 80% of stuff is not generating any money. It's just wasting his time. So how much time at work do we go around and say, you know what, do I need to spend all this time doing this? Can't I just eliminate this? And this 20% of time is going to give you what you need.
Preach.
And I think work does this a lot of time where it doesn't reward people for being productive and efficient. It's like you're told you go to work for 8 hours, yeah? If you were able to finish your work in an hour, what you needed to do for an hour, your manager's not going to say, hey, go home, you're done for the day, chill, peace. Nah, you're going to be rewarded by having more stuff put on your plate and more stuff put on your plate and more stuff put on the plate. So there's no real reward mechanism for being productive. And then the big thing also it talks about is outsourcing. So
slight interjection there. Ultimately, what you've summarized is the difference between an employee and someone that an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur is looking to get paid off results.
Yeah.
An employee is basically getting paid off their time. So that's why, in essence, what it translates into is the more hours I do, which doesn't make any sense, but in terms of the more hours I do, the more productive or busy I seem. So that's what kind of is the badge of honor at work. Whereas to your point, the elimination is looking for results, better results.
For sure.
And I know of elimination, automation, and outsourcing, I'm going to get paid a better rate and have more time. So it's of results focus versus time.
And then the guy with his book and what he talks about is outsourcing responsibilities and tasks. So I remember the first time I got a cleaner. Yeah. My brothers would give me a hard time like, they were like, yo, why you getting a cleaner? You're so lazy, man. Wake up and clean the house or whatever. And I was like, nah, my time is worth more than the £10 an hour that I give to that to the cleaner to clean my apartment. And it's like how you start to value, because there are certain people that will say, oh, I spent the whole day cutting the lawn.
Yeah, true.
yeah.
And it's like,
oh, real talk. Keep going.
So it's like, wait, you could have paid £20 to get someone to do that. You ended up spending the whole day, 11 hours doing that when you could have just paid, and you're tired. When instead of that,
probably busted up as well.
Exactly. Instead of that,
do you want to? The thing is, what you're getting onto, is this is such a key thing for us all to do, which is not. I don't think any of us have done it, and we haven't been taught to do this. Right? Is we need to put a value on our time. Right. So if I ask you today, what is the price of your time? What does it cost for? You might say every hour for me costs £100. And so all of your activities are now going to be measured up against. If I spend 10 hours on my phone, then that's how much time you're wasting. That's how much money you're effectively wasting.
Yeah.
So it's really about, we need to, and it depends on how you see your self-worth and what you believe that you are and how much you're worth. And so value your time. You have to put a value in your time.
Or even think about it this way: everyone has £86,400, dollars, yen, francs a day, and that's the number of seconds in a day, and you get that every single day. So how much of that are you wasting? So think about, even from the time you woke up this morning to now, how much have you spent, and how much will even yield a profit or return? And if you come to the mindset of actually valuing or putting a value price tag on every second, every minute, I think you'd quickly be very careful about what you spend your time on and who you spend your time with, and how much effort you put into that interaction.
Yeah. So that outsourcing thing is something I've been starting to get big on, especially with sort of cleaning. Like, let's say, for example, I want to put together a website. Instead of me sitting there and spending 3-4 days doing it, there's a website called Fiverr where you can find consultants that will do that work for you, and you can look at their previous work, etc. And I think it's something that we want to get comfortable with. Unfortunately, I'm not able to sort of outsource my 9-to-5 job. I think that's one of the that's one of the reasons I'm still doing a 9-to-5. Otherwise, I could find someone in KL or Malaysia or somewhere to do my work, and I'll just chill and do other stuff.
On the subject of valuing time and putting a price tag, we've all got iPhones. We've all got screen time.
Yeah.
Let's go right now and see where the majority of our time was spent this week. And you know what?
That's easy.
Let's do that.
That's
I
easy.
actually,
You know why I find that dope, yeah? Or I find it
Settings.
funny because every week, yeah, it shows me that it's gone down. But let's go. Settings, where do you go?
Same. Settings, where'd you go next?
Boy.
Oh, it should be on your homes. You should see screen time.
Yeah,
On
so
here.
settings, and then it should be in a second chunk under notifications, sounds, and haptics. Do not disturb screen time.
Okay, so how do I... So I click on
And
this.
then you select your device at the top, your name.
So last 7 days or just today?
Let's do last 7 days.
Last 7 days.
Okay. Ooh, I know why mine...
Boy.
You know why mine's bad, but I know why it's bad, so...
Okay.
Okay.
Sure, you go first.
Right. I don't even know if this is right, but
It's
It's right. Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie.
So actually, for me, in the last 7 days, my average is 3 hours 47 minutes.
Okay.
But I
Wait,
would
Wait, 3 hours?
Is that the big number up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so, yeah.
Oh, shoot.
So I think
Okay,
the
mine's
reason,
kinda
and
bad.
actually, I don't know. I'll show you guys if you can see there. You see, there's that one big day at the end, and basically, just to add as a disclaimer, last Sunday, I was traveling, flying, and I had a long train, and during that day, I was watching Netflix movies, so that's why it's above. So typically,
No. What about the pickups? What's
Okay,
your
no,
pickup?
wait. So
Who's getting?
Wait. You said the big number, 3 hours 47 minutes.
yeah.
And what was your most used, and what was the hour?
Ooh,
Mine's easy.
Daniel, you're putting me on here. You're putting me on. All right, cool. Most used, right? 7 hours 54 minutes. Instagram. But can I just say? Also, another disclaimer. I'm responsible for
No
the Take
disclaimer.
Flight
No.
podcast Instagram page.
One
So
second.
I define it more as a work, as a job. But yeah, that was my most.
You know why
used.
this is so bad, yeah? Because she was starting out these numbers. I'm like, this is nothing in comparison. Not Instagram pop, but in terms of my hours. But I know why. Why mine's so high. So.
Explanations.
Okay, final one. So okay, let's do this. Let's do 3 KPIs. So one, the average time. So I just told you 3 hours 47. 2, most used app, Instagram, 7 hours, and then the final one, pickups. I averaged 92 pickups per day.
Ooh.
Okay, cool. I'm less than
So
you
who's
on that
next?
one. I'll go next. So my
It's not competition. You just gotta read your numbers. Bro.
so my per day is 8 hours.
Oh my god!
I'll tell you why. Now, do you want to know what my number one is?
No.
Let me tell you what my number one is. Let me tell you what my number one is.
Make my judgment.
So my number one is YouTube, 25 minutes. 20.
Say- oh.
My first one is YouTube, 25 out. YouTube. Are you deaf?
sorry.
YouTube, which is 25 hours. And that's simple. So I listen to all my podcasts and everything on YouTube.
Okay,
So
fair
that makes so whenever I drive to work.
Okay.
No.
Pick up.
No, that's simple because you think when I drive to work back and forth, that's
Okay,
2 hours.
pick
Yo, let me finish. Let me explain myself. Yeah. Don't just context is key. Yeah. But when I drive, remember when we were talking about your morning routines. So when I drive to work, I go on to YouTube and I'll look at like entrepreneur videos, videos and stuff like that.
Okay,
So
cool,
that's
cool.
why my YouTube was high.
Cool.
And then my pickup is 64.
Okay, solid.
So it's less. So
Pete, what's yours?
I'm 4 hours and 20 minutes per day.
Yeah.
Instagram,
Yeesh.
Yeah.
12 hours, 21 minutes.
So what's your disclaimer?
What I'm gonna say is, if you want to manage to take flight podcast Instagram page, just shout me.
Let me tell you guys. Let me tell you guys why. There's only one reason why.
No. We don't need to hear the context. You didn't want to hear about context.
No money out. It's been about Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace.
Okay, how many pickups?
96.
Yeesh. You guys need to put your phone down, man.
Bro, shut up, bro.
Daniel, let's see yours.
So my screen time is 3 hours 27 minutes per day. Most used is Instagram, 9 hours 38 minutes. And I have 4 accounts on Instagram. I've got my photography, I've got my food, so don't even try nothing.
Yeah, remember Daniel's Nigerian, yeah. So he's got his fraud account as well, yeah. You got your fraud account, yeah.
86 pickups per day.
Okay. So my pickup's not bad.
We're gonna check next week where we all stand, because I'm telling you guys now, I don't like these numbers compared to you guys. Next week,
you know why it's so bad, yeah?
I'm just gonna add one final thing before we close this topic. So this is my main phone, but I also have another phone.
Bring it down. Bring that one now.
So then, if I compare the two, I got a problem, guys. Okay, so actually, just for the listeners, for the listeners, I have my work phone, and then I also have my own personal phone, right? So the stats that I gave you before were my personal phone. And just now I was sitting here thinking, do I tell him I got the other one or not?
You know what's funny? You say that? I was actually going to reduce my Instagram time. I was thinking, this sounds too mad compared to you guys.
Now, let's be real. All right, cool. So on my other phone, the second phone, average screen time per day, 1 hour 45. So if I combine the two, that's probably more than 5 hours a day.
Yes.
Then
More than me.
Most used, Instagram, 2 hours. So if I combine that with the other phone, that's nearly 10 hours Instagram. So in the work on my work phone, pickups per day, 118. So
yeah, but that's work emails. Work emails and stuff. So I allow you the disclaimer.
That's true.
One thing I wanted to add, just to share as a struggle or a challenge, and it relates to the pickups, is what I've found over the last year. I don't know if you guys experienced the same, which is, because sure, interesting. You said that you have a lot of pickups from when you're at work, and what I find is a couple things. Is one, when you're not necessarily so engaged in work, you find yourself picking up your phone a number of times. But the second thing is, and this is about developing a particular muscle to see things through. What I find is that if I'm starting a particular task or I'm working on a particular model, when I get stuck, I pick up my phone and go on Instagram, right? And so I have caught myself in saying it's like I'm kind of like backing out and like quitting when I should just stick with what I'm doing and persevere. So I don't know if anyone else is experiencing that, not only on the call, but as a listener. But sorry, sure. And I think it's really, really fun. I think it's really, really important to catch it, because effectively you're breaking your focus and you're losing so much value in I normalized it. So picking up my phone, like we've all done it. We've gone to WhatsApp. And we've gone to it again 2 minutes later. No one's messaged you, but you're checking your WhatsApp messages.
No, I haven't done that. Speak for yourself. I don't do that, but cool.
Have you never done that?
No.
You never found yourself in a period when you've done that?
It's okay to have a problem. It's okay to have a problem. It's okay to have a problem, you know.
No, I'm not. No, what I'm saying,
I'm
just asking the question.
Set yourself a daily max. Set yourself a daily max on your apps, and you can.
You can restrict it.
I reckon you bring up actually a great point, and I'm going to steal this as a topic for the next time I need to run an episode, and we can have a discussion about mobile phones, whether they're an enabler or whether they're actually holding people back.
Let's do that. So just to close on this book review.
We're doing a book review.
Yeah. Feels like a topic, right?
Okay, real quick, just guys, Daniel and Olu, because I'm actually quite impressed if you've never found yourself in this particular habit. So you've never found yourself going.
We could do that in the next topic. We could do it on the topic when he goes into the detail.
Yeah. See how Olu's backing out, cuz.
So I think the book is really good in terms of it lets you just think about time, how you value time, and it gives you some tips on how you can eliminate and also outsource some of your work with a virtual assistant, etc. Like I mentioned at the beginning, there is a disclaimer in terms of not everyone can do it, but there are some people that are in a situation where they can, especially if you're an entrepreneur or looking to start your own business. Then there's ways that you can eliminate and outsource so that you can have more time to actually spend on stuff that you want to do and experience life. So dope. Cool. The name of the book again, the 4 hours work week by Tim Ferriss. So
I think just real quick, just one comment on that. I think the title is just to capture an audience, because when you read it, you say, I want to sign up to that. I want to sign up to a life where I only work 4 hours a week. But if you're trying to build something meaningful in life, you will find you're never going to be able to achieve anything on 4 hours a week. So I think it's just to capture your attention. But I think there are concepts, as Olu's gone through, which are valuable to keep in mind and try to work on.
dope.
Just one final reinforcement of a point that Olu made. If you can afford it, get a cleaner ASAP. And also, if you don't have one, invest in a dishwasher. You save a lot of time and a lot of effort, and probably with better results than if you did it yourself.
Dope.
I think it's
Cool.
Yeah.
So thank you, faithful listeners. Thank you for staying tuned with us. New listeners, you're always welcome. If you have any feedback for us, please hit us up in a comment on a post or direct message on Instagram at Take Flight Podcast. Alternatively, email us at takeflightpodcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next week. Stay safe and God bless.
Guys, we just forgot one
Peace.
thing, though. We forgot one thing.
What?
3 words. Hats coming soon.
Zoom, baby.
Umanyin.
Peace.
Bye.
Take care. God bless.
Take care. Peace.
Take off, take